Thomas Green here with Ethical Marketing Service. On the episode today, we have John and Mark Cronin. Welcome.
How are you, Thomas?
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you for having us on the show.
I appreciate it.
We will work on being ethical.
It is my pleasure. And I always start off, would you like to take a moment and tell the audience a little bit about yourselves and what you do?
You want to introduce us, Bill?
Yeah, Dad. My name is John. This is my partner, my dad, Mark. We are John Cricket Socks.
John Crazy Socks. We're a social enterprise. And what's our mission?
Spreading happiness.
Spreading happiness. So, and I got to give credit. We could talk about the origin, but this was John's idea, and people should know a bit about John. I'll introduce you, okay?
Okay.
You're an entrepreneur. Yes.
Yes, I am.
A philanthropist.
Yes.
An athlete.
Yes, I
In
am.
fact, this weekend, you're going to be competing in the New York State Special Olympic Winter Games in snowshoe.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
You're a dancer.
Yes, I am.
I hear about you and your girlfriend, so I guess that makes you a lover. But you also happen to have Down syndrome.
Yes, I am.
What do you say about Down syndrome?
I have Down syndrome. Down syndrome never hold me back.
No, it does not.
I'm going to go about you.
You're going to introduce me.
I'm going to introduce you.
Okay. Well, it's Thomas's show. You should ask if that's okay.
Is that okay, Thomas?
Yeah, go for it.
My dad is smooth.
Smooth.
He is a lover, like his wife. And he is a funny man. He is kind.
Oh.
He is so intelligent.
I'm intelligent. Well, thank you very much. It's a live show. I never know what John is going to do.
Well, one of the things, I mean, I do have a direction I want to go in, but one of the things I wanted to add to that, if I may, is that you're also a great dad. And that comes up. I see that pretty much in every video I see of you guys. So would you say that's fair, John?
Yes, I do.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Parenting is very humbling. There's so much you want to do as a parent, and in many ways, there's very little we can do. But John is the youngest of three sons. And if we had his older brothers on, they could offer some dissenting opinion.
Well, as I said, I did want to talk about your story, but in prep for the episode, obviously I looked at the socials, so I saw some great dance in there. But I also looked at the YouTube trailer, if you like, the video on the channel, and your mission of spreading happiness. I can confess to crying. So the video made me cry, and I think it made me cry because you're accomplishing your mission of spreading happiness. So I wanted to say thank you for that.
We really don't aim to make people cry. We have seen it happen, but we're supposed to be making people feel good and spread some happiness.
But it's not a bad thing. It was oh my goodness, the meaningful work is just amazing. And I look for meaning in business where I can, and I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. So if we get to perhaps the beginnings of your business, how does it begin?
So we're just a little over 5 years old. So let's cast our minds back to the fall of 2016. And it's a good story. Our story starts in a small log cabin in the woods.
No,
not really. It starts in suburban New York. And where were you, John?
I was at Hunting High School. I'm going to be my last year of school.
So it's going to be his last year of school. And like everybody else, John was trying to figure out, what do I do next? And what were you looking at?
I like a job, program, and school. I don't like the options I don't like.
He didn't see any options he liked. And this is an unfortunate reality for people with differing abilities. In the US, fewer than 1 in 5 people with a disability are employed. And I know there are similar numbers in the UK. It's awful. But John here, he's a natural entrepreneur.
Yes, I am.
If he didn't see a job he wanted, what were you going to do?
I said, I want to create one, I want to make one.
And what'd you tell me?
I said, I want to go into business with my dad and a nice fellas that been together.
Now, I told you, Thomas, I've got 3 sons. John's the youngest, and this is one I could work with. So, okay, we'll go into business. And you probably know this, entrepreneurs have ideas all the time. And some of them are even good ideas, but not every one of them. So we had to come up with a business. What were we going to do? Right. What was one of your ideas?
One of them is a food truck. I come up idea from the movie Chef on John Favreau, the movie about a father and son buying a food truck.
Which seemed like great fun. And you started talking about what we could make and where we would put it. But we ran into a problem.
We can't cook.
Yeah. So it wasn't going to be a food truck. But then, right before the US Thanksgiving, which is late November, John, you had your eureka moment.
I did. I want to sell crazy socks. Why socks? It's fun. It's colorful. It's creative. I will always let me be me.
So this seemed like a good idea. And our thinking was, listen, if John loved these socks this much, surely other people would too. We could find our tribe.
Absolutely.
So we did not prepare your traditional business plan. Instead, we went the lean startup route. We said, let's get something up and going, and we'll see how customers respond. So you already had the name.
I got a name. I drew a website. I got a design.
We built a website on the Shopify platform. We got a little bit of inventory. We were bootstrapping, so you got to make do with what you had. The only marketing we did was to set up a Facebook page, and I would take out my cell phone, and we made videos. And who do you think was in those videos?
I am. I talk about socks. Sock, more sock.
And we noticed something. People started sharing those videos, and they started getting a larger and larger reach. And what day did we open?
We opened on the Friday, December 9th, 2016.
And we didn't know what to expect. We were very fortunate. We got a flood of orders the first day. We got 42 orders, or it certainly felt like a flood then. And most of them were local. And what did we decide to do with those orders?
I decided to our home delivery. We get red boxes.
We put the socks in the boxes, and looked at it and said, needs something else. So what did we put in?
I put in a Dick in the Road and candy.
We got bags of Hershey's Kisses, filled up the boxes, loaded up the car, and drove around. And you knocked on doors to look at the socks. There were times we were out at 10:30 at night and John's knocking on doors saying, just John with your socks, and how the customers respond.
Customers loved it. They took a photo and take a pictures and post it on social media. A word I get a spread.
We had customers reordering just to get John to come back to their house. So by the end of the month, really 2 weeks, we had shipped 452 orders and had $13,000 in revenue. And we learned a few things.
One, people want to buy socks. Two, people want to buy socks for me.
They related to John. They liked the fact, they liked the personal touch of the note and the candy. They liked the fact we'd already pledged 5% to the Special Olympics, 5% of our earnings to the Special Olympics. And something that caught us off guard. People responded very emotionally. We heard from people who had a child with Down syndrome, with autism, or had a relative, and there was a very strong reaction. And you learn by doing. So we learned that this young man,
this old man,
we could sell socks. So that's how we got started.
It's a great story. And I also want to buy socks based on the story.
Well, that's, what we've gone on. We told you, we refer to it as a social enterprise. But that's part of what it's about. Right? You've got to have a purpose. You've got to know what you're about, what's your why, as Simon Sinek would call it. And it's got to be something greater than ourselves. And it can't just be, we want to make money. And don't get me wrong, we want to make money. We like to live indoors. But you've got to have that purpose that provides both your North Star. It can guide you when the tough times come, and tough times will come. But it also gives you something to connect with your customers and your community, and to connect with your colleagues on. Think about it. We sell socks. We've gone out and counted. There are exactly 1 gazillion sock companies. And socks are a simple piece of fabric. And if all you're doing is selling socks, what do you say? Ours are better than yours. Ours don't smell as much as yours, right? But when you have a purpose behind it, when you have a story that you believe, well, then the socks become transformative. So, our customers, you got to have great socks, right? So, among other things, we have over 29,000 5-star reviews. But when our customers are buying from us, it's an experience. They know they're going to get great socks. They know they're going to get great service. We do same-day shipping. But they also know that they're helping us employ people with different abilities. More than half of our colleagues have a different ability. They know they're supporting our Giving Back program. It makes them happy. And so now they're spreading happiness. And we're doing all this together.
So you're business partners, but you've got 2 brothers. Have they mentioned that they want to get involved in the business now that you're a success? They've both helped all along. They have their own lives. One of them worked with us for a while, and that ended because if it didn't, and we love each other dearly, we were on the phone together last night talking, but after a while, I think you would have found us both on the floor in a pool of blood with axes in our heads. But the mama bear works with us too, right?
Yes.
But everybody, we're fortunate. John's brothers are all helpful with the business and are able to give us advice and guidance. And particularly early on when we needed extra hands, they would be there to help us.
What have some of the biggest challenges been?
Well, there are always going to be some challenges. Getting started is actually the easy part. The challenge for us, the biggest challenges have been handling growth and the seasonality of our business. So, I can give you a sense of some of the ups and downs, just like even in the very first year. So our first full year is 2017. We were growing nicely. And then in March, in the first weekend of March, we had our first viral experience. Watch what you ask for, you may get it. Somebody had made a video about us. It's not a particularly special video. They didn't film anything. It was just a slideshow video. But last I looked, that had over 20 million views. So we went from doing 40 orders a day to over 1,000 orders a day. Almost put us out of business. We surged up for that. And then by the summer, that surge is gone. And now we're discovering firsthand what others in the industry already knew, which is nobody buys socks in the summer. So we've got very little revenue coming in. I've got no cash. I'm borrowing to pay staff. We run out of money. I'm talking to my accountant saying, on paper, we look okay. He says, yes, Mark, let's go look in your warehouse. Because by this point, we've now moved into a building with a proper warehouse. You see your inventory, that's all your money. We were able to come back during the holidays and surge and did well, hired everybody back. But that ups and down really was difficult for the first 3 years because we had surges and down and then up. We had a huge year, our second year, with some multiple media appearances and viral events. But by the end of our third year, we were, for all intents and purposes, bankrupt. I was talking to bankruptcy firms, and they wanted as much as $50,000 up front, bankruptcy law firms. And I'm saying to them, well, wait a second, if I had $50,000, I wouldn't need to be talking to you. The good news for us is we found the perfect strategic partner. After striking out with banks and listening to investors or supposed investors who wanted to put money in but really gut us, they were just interested in buying a brand. We found, for us at least, the perfect partner, third generation family business, been around over 60 years, that manufactures socks for department stores and brand names. So it turned out to be a really good fit. We have shared values. And so, that challenge of being able to have financial stability and also find the production capabilities to match what we were trying to do was the biggest challenge. And we were able to meet it by finding that strategic partner. And, I'll give you an idea of one way it works. For 2022, one of our objectives was to enter the wholesale channel and start shipping wholesale by the fourth quarter. Well, we already have an arrangement with Kohl's, the big department store chain in the US. They're going to put us in 600 stores for the fourth quarter. We were able to get that because of the story and the brand that we have developed. But 2 years ago, they could have come to us and said, we want to do this deal, and we would have had no way of making it happen. And because now we have the right partner, we're able to do that.
Well, congratulations on all that. There's a couple of things that I wanted to cover within your story. You both did a TEDx talk. How was it? How did it go? And were you happy with it?
So we've been very fortunate to do 2 TEDx talks. The first one was we do a lot of speaking engagements, but the TEDx were different. For the first time, we had to memorize a script and you had to be on your marks. And it was very personal, the first one. I'm not terribly happy with it because the production of it just wasn't great. If you watch the video, and it's gotten some traction. There's something off with the sound, so that's a little frustrating because it kind of undermines the substance. The second one is on a theme we pursue often, which is saying that hiring people with differing abilities is not altruism, it's good business. And we did that one, there was no audience, it was just done in the studio. Much happier with that one. It's much more focused and on the mark. It's not quite as emotional as the first one. And it had a better production quality to it.
I did see the second one, so I'll go back and watch the first one. But you mentioned the socials, and I had a look at I think it's your TikTok, a massive audience. How has that been?
We are having fun with TikTok, huh?
Right.
You do a lot of TikTok videos.
I did.
You and Christy have fun making them. TikTok in many ways plays real well to us because it's raw, it's who you are, it's hard to manufacture it. Though we can't claim any form of expertise because we do some things that get 50,000 views, and then others that we think are going to get a lot of views, and they get nothing. And this is okay with us. We haven't figured out how to monetize it yet. But that's much of our approach, right? We're looking to connect with people. We're looking to begin relationships that will be lasting, not simply a transaction. And we've taken that view on all of our social platforms and all of our outreach. It's what can we do for you? What can we share? And we take our processes and turn that into content. So we share a lot of things. We want our customers and community to really feel a part of what we're doing.
I'd like to also highlight something, which is your message of focusing on what you can do versus what you can't do. There might be someone listening to this, John, who maybe they have, let's say, they've been convinced by society or someone else telling them that they can't do something, whereas you've achieved an awful lot. What would you say as advice for someone who, let's say they've been told they can't do something? What would you say to them?
What advice do you have?
My advice, follow your heart, follow your dreams, work hard, so you can do.
We have a focus. It's part of our approach to working with all of our colleagues. Right? A key part of that is put people in a position to succeed. Don't ask them to do what they can't do. So John here, you do an awful lot of things in the business, right?
I did.
But we don't ask you to manage our finances.
Right.
Because that's not a strength. Or when it comes to hiring in our warehouse, we do our own fulfillment, right? If you sell goods online, somehow you got to have a pick and pack warehouse. Many people outsource that. But because we're creating jobs, we do it ourselves. It also fits with our pillar of making things personal, allows us to personalize the packaging and the service. But when it comes to hiring, now what do we call our pickers?
Sock wranglers.
Sock wranglers. So that's our entry-level job. We focus on, can you do that job? And we don't look at externalities or things that don't matter. So that has enabled us to see that our best hiring pool are people with different abilities because they can do that job. And that's literally how we hire them. We train people, and to get the job, you got to pass the sock wrangler test. You got to pick 6 orders in 30 minutes or less. Show us you can do the job, you got the job.
It was something that I was going to ask you about, was your hiring process. But it's kind of like a test, is that right?
Well, yes, and the hiring process, it is a comprehensive approach that it doesn't just start. You can't start hiring when you decide, oh, we need a position, we need to fill a job. So, for us, and here's some of the things that happen ahead of time. We host tours here. So schools and social service agencies come in here all the time to see what it is we do. And now their students or clients get exposure to what we do. And that opens their eyes of, oh, I can get a job, I can work, but also I may want to come and work with John's Crazy Sock. We host work groups from schools and social service agencies that will bring 5 or 6 people in for an hour or 2 a week, just so they can get some work experience. But again, those are people who now see what we do, and we get to see them. And the schools and social service agencies get to know us. And we work with some of those social service agencies that bring people in, and they do assessments with them because they want to see them in a field. So now, when it's time, we have an opening, we go to hire. We have this pool of people that are familiar with us. They see what the jobs are like, and they're either able to apply directly or find candidates for us. And we extend that through our social media and our colleagues who help recruit people. So as an example, we surge during the holiday season. We're very seasonal. We do 40% of our business in the last 2 months of the year. So we got to hire extra staff during the holidays. In our part of the world, there's a growing labor shortage. Employees couldn't find enough good workers. We had a surplus of people. We were easily able to fill every job we had. And it's because of whom we consider, right? We don't artificially exclude anybody. And it's because we develop these relationships. So when we have openings, we get a lot of people coming and applying for those jobs.
Congratulations on all that. I think that's amazing. Coming back to the mission, just shortly, I think there are a lot of people who are perhaps working and they don't have that level of happiness in their job. What would you advise them, or how do you spread happiness in the workplace?
Well, I can tell you our approach, and we've kind of broken it down to 5 pieces. First, as an employer, as an organization, we have to offer people a mission worthy of their commitment, something meaningful, some purpose that's larger than ourselves. It's got to be more than just make money. In the US, we've been going through what people are referring to as the big quit or the big resignation. 4 million people a month have been quitting their jobs. And some of it is because they're saying, I'm not going to take that crappy pay. And some of it is because they're saying, well, what am I doing this for? And so an organization, we start by saying, well, we have something. We have a purpose that's going to make a difference. And it's worthy of your commitment, worthy of your time. That's 1. 2, everybody has to know why their job matters, how their job fits into that mission and that purpose, why we need them. Some of it is, some of that is just a sense of gratitude of, we don't view it, you ought to be thankful we gave you a job. We view it as, we're grateful you work with us. We're grateful to see the work you do. So everybody here, if you ask them, what's your job about? They're going to tell you, I'm spreading happiness. And they'll tell you why. Third, put people in a position to succeed. Don't ask them to do what they can't do. Give them the right direction and the right tools and right support. We just hired a web designer / graphic artist / video editor. Sat down with her. What type of computer do you want to work with and do you need? Because we know you're going to need a special machine given what you're doing. And we don't have endless resources, but give somebody what they need. If someone needs a special chair, get them a special chair. It's not hard. And don't ask people to do what they can't do. Find their strengths and build on that. Fourth, you have to recognize what everybody does. You show up at your job, Thomas, and you care about it. You want to do good work. So just let's recognize it. Say to somebody, I mentioned that web designer. So she just yesterday published her first new page that she built. on our site. It's better than anything we've done before. So immediately came running and saying, just thank you so much. You made us look so good. Right? Oftentimes that's all it is. It's just saying thank you. Yes, it gets into pay. You have to pay fair. Doesn't mean you have to pay the top, but everybody has to be paid fairly. Because I don't think pay ever becomes an incentive, but it can be a disincentive. If you think you're not being paid right, that's going to bother you. Right? And with us, it means if the company does well, everybody should share in that. So we structure things around bonuses that are not tied to your individual performance, that's some of it, but it's really tied to team and organizational performance. We're all in this together. And then the last piece of that is, give people that mission, make sure they know what they're doing, put them in a position to succeed, recognize what they do, and then stay the hell out of the way. Let people do their jobs. So if you look at our org chart, John and I appear twice in the org chart. We're up top because our job is to provide the vision and the direction. Where are we going? But we're at the bottom because my job in particular is to support everybody else, to put you in a position to succeed. And if you're running into an obstacle, it's my job to remove that obstacle.
Great point. In terms of the future, what's next for John's Crazy Socks?
We want to reach more people. You like to say we've only just begun, right?
Right, Dad.
It's really building on that mission of spreading happiness. There are a couple of objectives that we have for this year. We are finding more ways to connect with people. One way we're doing it is doing more podcast interviews like this. We're building up the speaking engagements we do. We are just today dropping our own podcast, the Spreading Happiness podcast.
Right.
Half-hour weekly podcast. We are not a competitor of yours. It's just John and I sharing conversation and updates and news, not about business as much about our lives, and just trying to make people feel happy. A show that it will make you smile and feel good for the day. So we're doing, some of that is going out and driving, beginning to create content, because our overall strategy is drive the mission. The more we do for the mission and the story, the more that drives the brand, and then that will drive sales. We do have some targets to grow our direct to consumer business. We are now finally growing our B2B business. For years now, people have called us up and said, hey, can you make custom socks for us or do gift packages? And the answer is yes. And now we finally said, what do you think would happen if we actually marketed those services? And we want to be in wholesale by the fourth quarter. We already have that deal with Kohl's. Macy's has agreed to at least sell us through Macy's online. And we have a deal already in place of selling through Zappos. And then we have a fourth objective. We have a new program we're rolling out called JCS Champions. The idea is we want to put people with differing abilities into their own business by giving them a business in a box. We're going to give them inventory, give them a stand, give them training, help them get set up. It's not a franchise, it's their business. They can run a micro business and now sell at craft fairs and farmers market, or maybe set up inside the store in town. They'll be able to control how much they grow the business, because at least in the US, if you have a disability and you're getting disability payments and medical coverage, if you earn too much, you lose those benefits. So this will enable them to have a business but still get their benefits. We expect to enroll the first people in October. And our plan is to create 1,000 businesses over a 5-year period of time. So
amazing. It's a great goal.
We're trying not to be, we want to be focused, not do too much, but we have very clear objectives, and we're a team-based organization. We'll build teams around those. We monthly management meetings of, okay, where are we, folks? We're very fortunate. We have a great team of people that are committed, and we get to have fun.
Well, it's very inspirational. So congratulations to you both. And also I think it's really good that you share it on social, because it means that other people get to be inspired by it as well. So even if you know, let's say you don't get that particular viral reach or something, I went and I watched a load of stuff and I just found it was great and it made my day. So well done for all of that. Is there anything that I should have asked you about today?
Yeah, I don't think so. You know, I always like to talk about Bob Dylan, but that's really not on the show here. Anything you wanted to talk about?
I don't know.
We got that. You got Special Olympics, and there a lot of folks focus on the social aspect of what we do, the giving back, and we have these products that raise money and raise awareness. And we could talk about how we create personal connections with customers. I mean, here's a fun fact. We told you how we started. We did home deliveries. So now we've shipped over 370,000 packages to 88 different countries. But if we get an order between the office and home, what are you doing with that order?
Are you a home delivery?
Still doing home deliveries. But something that's important is to make everything go. You got to have the basics covered. You got to have a great website. You got to have great selection. You got to have great products. I told you we got 29,000 5-star reviews. You got to have great service. You got to have that to make everything else work. But and then one other bit of inspiration and hope and credit to John of what you've been able to build, buddy. When we started, we could put all the different socks we had on one table. How many different socks do we have now?
We have over 4,000 different socks.
That means John owns the world's largest sock store. How cool is that?
It's very cool.
Yeah, great fun, huh, buddy?
Red Dad.
It's actually really, really nice that you can do it together as well, like business partners, son and dad. I think it's really cool. So well done.
We're very fortunate. We've had some great experiences. We've testified twice before the U.S. Congress. We've spoken at the United Nations. To be sitting in the U.S. Capitol next to my son, testifying, just standing up for the rights of others. How awesome is that? How phenomenal. How fortunate.
How did that go? And what was it about?
It was talking about employment issues and how do we better employ, knock down barriers so that people with different abilities could work. It went the way many things go like this. There was a panel, there were 3 others on the panel. And they were all CEOs, 2 for big nonprofits, they're all nonprofits, 2 for big advocacy agencies and 1 for a nonprofit, and then John and me. Who was the star? John. Because he's the only person with different abilities sitting there, standing up, and people took notice, right? That's an important part. One of the business has given us a platform by which other people are willing to listen to us. Look at you. You were willing to have us on your show, which we're really grateful for. Once we have that opportunity, we have to take advantage of it. You have to make use of it. It becomes an obligation on our part. So we get to talk to you about hiring people with different abilities, or here's an approach to treating your colleagues well so you can attract people and go and do bigger and better things. We get to do that with elected officials. They take our phone calls. Here's an anecdote. We were down one day on Capitol Hill,
Right.
and we shared that on social media. And a customer from Houston called up and said, I see that John and Mark are on Capitol Hill. Well, my mother works there, and she's a big fan of John's. Do you think it would be possible for my mother to meet John? And our colleague said, sure, here's Mark's cell number. Just text him your mom's name and contact information. Who was mom? Nancy Pelosi. So we get a meeting with the Speaker of the House, and it was all warm and wonderful. I think this happens in the UK, but we're in a particular bad place in the US. We vilify our elected officials. If you don't agree with them, you don't just disagree, they're monsters to you. Well, let's put politics aside. We forget they're people. So among other things, Nancy Pelosi is an 80-year-old Italian grandmother. So she's warm and kind with John. And she took out pictures of her and former President Bush the elder, George H.W. Bush, and socks that she had given him, because John had become sock buddies with the former President Bush, and they had exchanged letters and socks. So this was a warm and wonderful moment. But now we have this opportunity. We're meeting with the Speaker of the House, one of the most powerful people in the United States. It's like, well, after we take the photos and smile and have the chit chat, it's like, but we have to talk to you about a few issues. We have to talk to you about eliminating the sub-minimum wage that allows employers to pay people with a disability as little as 5 cents an hour. And we have to change that. We have to break this link between benefits and income so that people aren't forced to choose between work and maintaining their health benefits if you have a disability. And the business gives us those opportunities. It gives us speaking opportunities to stand in front of 5,000 people at a Microsoft conference and applaud the work they do in hiring people with different abilities and show them, look what can happen. And that's really important to us.
Well done on everything. It reminds me and probably people that are listening that there is more to do. There's always more to do. But if someone wants to buy some socks, some crazy socks, where do they go?
I'll go at johncrazysocks.com.
johncrazysocks.com, right? And you buy from us, you're going to get great socks. You're going to help us employ people with different abilities. You're going to help us give back. Most of all, you help us spread happiness. And you can connect with us on all the social platforms, John's Crazy Socks. You can now listen to the Spreading Happiness podcast on all your favorite platforms.
Right.
And you can always get a hold of us. Send us an email. Send it to John at johncrazysocks.com, and you'll get that email and show it to me, and we'll be glad to connect with people.
Well, I'm in the UK. Do you think a home delivery is out of the question?
We might love to make a home delivery, particularly because you folks with that Brexit, what a pain in the ass. we broke down, and then we were able to ship again, and now we got a glitch because to make the payments we have to make, which we don't have any trouble making, we have to have a British-based bank account. So we're a little company outside of New York City, So maybe I have to ring you up, Thomas, and say, you open a bank account for us. It's a bit crazy.
All right. Well, I've loved it. I really was looking forward to speaking to both of you. So I appreciate your time. And any closing thoughts at all?
I think that's it. Go out and believe. Go out, know what matters to you, believe and make it happen.
John, Mark, thank you very much.
Thomas, thank you so much.
Thomas.